Hey everybody, it's Bennett, your fantasy football commish. As you can see, we have a new and improved weekly recap here. I just remembered that I have a program on my computer that allows me to record the screen and not just me on the video. So now I have some visualizations and all those kind of things to make the blog more exciting rather than looking at my face the whole time. In addition, I think that the lip sync issues have been fixed, at least using this program. So I'm super excited about the new format. I hope you guys will watch it and enjoy it more. And those who haven't been watching, hopefully you're starting to watch it, and hopefully it's more interesting now. Again, with some visualization. So I'm also super pumped about the fantasy football playoffs, which are coming up. We only have 1 week left of the regular season, and as you can see, we have the standings at the top of the screen. And we have the scoreboard here, so I'm going to still do the recap, but at any time, obviously, you can look at the standings as we go. And you can also look at the full scoreboard here. So, I'm super excited. Quick word, adding insult, I just want to acknowledge John Gallo's bad luck this year. Not only is he having the worst fantasy football season I've ever seen, not just missing the draft, but trading for Vic. Vic gets hurt. Keeping Maurice Jones-Drew, he got hurt. Just one thing after the other. In addition to missing the draft, but of course, nothing compares to the defeat that the University of Georgia suffered last week against Alabama. I definitely was not surprised that they made a good game of it. They got crushed by LSU last year in the championship game. I knew they'd play a close game this year, but it's got to be infuriating to make a play, and everybody in the whole world is yelling, "Spike the ball, spike the ball." For those of you who haven't seen it, Alabama took the lead by 4 with about a couple minutes left, and Georgia had the ball, no timeouts. They made a nice pass down to about the 12-yard line with 15 seconds left. And instead of spiking it and having 3 shots at the end zone to win the game, for some reason, not only did the quarterback not spike it, he took his time snapping it, wasted about 5 seconds, and then he threw it underneath to a guy who probably, if he had time to think about it, would have just dropped the ball. But he caught the ball. So, of course, with no timeouts, he catches it at the 7-yard line or whatever, and all the rest of the time went off the clock. So, super heartbreaking way to end it. I'm sorry, Gallo. You're probably not even watching this because you're not keeping up with your team, but I do sympathize, and I was rooting for the Bulldogs there. So, in addition to losing once again in fantasy football. So, as you can see, 0-13. So let's do the Actually, this was the previous week, week 12. I didn't do a recap last week, Thanksgiving week and whatever. No excuse, I just didn't get to it. But as you can see, You Got Beat by a Girl continues her winning ways, got the second most points, and Ray Finkel's Kicking Academy got a big one to put them in playoff positioning, along with the Stallions and the Darth Taters getting wins to help their playoff positioning. But on to week 13, because I don't want this to drag on too long. Let's take a look at the scoring. Big statement by the Mish division, especially the Slim Aussies, last year's champion, and of course my team. Biggest point total of the year. I have to look up to see what that 1 week Sarah got. Probably a little bit more, but one of the highest point totals of the year, and really taking control of the third wild card spot because of the point lead. So the Aussies moved to 8-5. As you can see here, none of the skill players got single digits. The lowest point was Michael Turner, and of course with Rob Gronkowski being hurt, I lost a big advantage there at the tight end position. But I picked up Martellus Bennett. That was a good pickup. He got me 19 points against Washington on Monday night, and even Michael Turner did pretty well. And I'm just going to have to ride Turner and Lynch the rest of the year. My running backs are definitely the least impressive part of my team, but I have no choice with Willis McGahee out. So Turner and Lynch are going to be my running backs for the next, hopefully, 3 weeks, and hopefully they'll put up numbers and not get hurt. And one other note is Pierre Garçon, who had 90 yards, if you can see, 109 in the first game, and then got hurt, didn't barely play. Had 4 catches over the next 8 weeks. and then even had 3 catches for 5 yards in week 11. Been waiting all year. Finally, my patience pays off, and he got 8 catches, 106 yards on Monday night and a touchdown. So that could be a big wild card going through to the rest of the year, especially with Deshaun Jackson out. Tough luck loser Temi got some points from Robo and Schaub, as you can see, but too many single-digit points from his other people on his team. So the Slim Aussies, again, 8-5. You can see the standings up there. And also I'll show you the points in a minute, and you'll see why the Slim Aussies are very, very likely to get the 3rd wild card spot. Okay, other games. You got beat by a girl, getting a little lucky. As you can see, only had about the 3rd or 4th lowest points of the week. Defeated the Cartel, again, who can't really blame him at this point for not really keeping up with his team. It's just so ugly. So, but Sarah didn't really do too much either, so she's going to be counting her blessings, and it's got to give hope to the rest of the league that she's beatable because she only had 132 points, as you can see. Doug Martin, since that one big week, has had a couple mediocre weeks. Wow, I guess it's been 5 weeks since then. That was week 9 when he got 251 yards rushing. Since then, he's had a couple touchdowns and 100-yard game, but definitely has gone down somewhat since then. And A.J. Green, one of her better players, only with 17 points. Wes Welker did his job, but so You Got Beat by a Girl does get the win over the Cartel to move to 11-1. Of course, or 12-1. Of course, she has clinched the Mish division and the number 1 seed in the playoffs, but maybe a little worried with that low point total. Closest game of the week was the Calvinators, who have also clinched their division with a 9-4 record, defeating the Darth Taters. The Darth Taters losing a big opportunity to control their own playoff destiny. And the Calvinators got just enough Monday night. I think it was tied going into Monday night. And the Giants D got 3 points, and Santana Moss got 0, but 9 points from Knicks. That was the difference. The 9 and the 12 points there on Monday night. So Calvinators really put a wrinkle into the Darth Taters' plans, and they clinched the division there. So obviously big disappointment there, only 12 points from Tom Brady. Good pickup of Noshawn Marino, but he only gets 11 points. He did block me from picking up Noshawn Marino last week because he was higher in the waiver wire. So the Darth Taters lose to fall in 7-6. We also have the Oceanside Lionesses' big win, keeping her playoff hopes alive. A loss would have eliminated her. She defeats Ray Finkel's Kicking Academy, who also lost an opportunity to control their own destiny for the playoff spot. Russell Wilson, especially with that overtime touchdown with 28 points. Des Bryant has done well, in spite of being sort of a punk player. And Cecil Shorts, who the heck is he? He gets 20 points. I never even heard of that guy. But he got 20 points for the Lionesses, so good pickup there. And we look at the bench. Left Jake Cutler on the bench for some reason, but didn't hurt her. And she goes to 7-6. Ray Finkel, just not many points. Drew Brees, obviously, 5 picks. That's never going to happen again. So, and Jordy Nelson got hurt. So, a little bit of bad luck for Finkel's Kicking Academy. They fall to 7-6. The Lionesses stay alive in the playoff hunt. And the final game, another statement by the Mish division, where the Spring Street Stallions defeat last year's runner-up, third in Oolong Tea, 168-131. Peyton, just a very steady game all around. As you can see, only one single-digit point total for the Stallions. Both quarterbacks did very well. And Arian Foster, only 15 points, but overall, very steady performance by the Stallions. They also control their own playoff destiny with a 168-131 win. Obviously, a disappointing season for Doreen. Okay, so that's all the scores from last week. Let's take a look at the standings. Here's the expanded standings. So, as you can see, You Got Beat by a Girl and the Calvinators both clinched their respective divisions, so they're in. That leaves two wild card teams. Could come from both the same. Both teams could come from the same division, either division, any combination, either of those combinations. So, as you can see, the 8-5 Stallions and the 8-5 Aussies have a leg up. If both teams win, they're in. The Slim Aussies, even if they lose, are likely to at least get the 4th seed because the tiebreaker is points, and the Slim Aussies have a 184-point lead for the season over over the Stallions. So the Aussies are pretty much guaranteed a playoff spot. Most likely the 3 seed, but could fall to number 4 if the Stallions win and the Aussies lose. Of course, if the Stallions lose, the Taters and the Kicking Academy and the Lionesses could come up. But if we take a look at the point totals, we'll zoom in here. The Darth Taters have a nice, what is that, 44, 40, 54 point. My math obviously not that good right now. 54-point lead over Finkel's Kicking Academy, and is down to the Stallions by 20. Oh my God, 29, 34 points. Excuse me. So anyway, Darth Taters win and need a little bit of help from from the Stallions losing or the Aussies losing, and some points. So it's going to take a lot for Kicking Academy and the Lionesses to get in there, but the Darth Taters do have a good shot. So we'll see what happens. As you can see, they have the projected bracket here. So as of right now, it's 3 teams from the Mish division. Slim Aussies have more points than the Calvinators, but due to the winning the division, the Calvinators get the 2nd seed. So this may be how it ends up, but of course we have to play the games next week. So thanks. I know this is probably running a little long, but I'm super excited about our new format here. Again, not having to look at me the whole time and actually having some pictures. And hope you enjoyed the blog. I'm rambling on a little bit, so I'm going to sign off. One more week of the fantasy football season. Good luck, everybody, and then we have 2 weeks of playoffs. So hope you enjoyed this, and have a good week.